My name is Ed Lauder. I'm a founding member of Apex Paranormal. We've been a group that's been doing this for 2+ years now.
My name's Shannon Johnson. I've been with Apex Paranormal since April last year. I actually found out about Apex through an internet search looking for a team to actually do a guest investigation with when I came across Apex. Emailed them, supposed to be, hey, can I investigate with you guys sometime, to, hey, I love to do research. This is kind of thing that I've always thought about doing. Explain paranormal experiences that I've had throughout my life. And within 24 hours, I actually got a text message to do an interview with Sean from Apex and Ed. And my second interview actually took place at Malvern Manor, where I was then inducted into the team. So I then became their case manager and their researcher.
And about 1.5 years ago, we were contacted by a caretaker that worked at this location. And he told us about a series of events that had gone on. And this was our first residential investigation that we went to. He had scratches on his arm that he received in the basement. And that was the most concerning thing that actually got him. He knew that something paranormal was going on in this location, and then that put him over the edge to contact a team.
So they came in, they did a walkthrough of the house, they've investigated inside and outside, but never did a full investigation of the home until about May. So I came with the team and we did a group investigation with 3 Girls in the Dark. And with the amount of evidence that we had gotten just in that one night, we presented it to the owner, and from there, we took on investigations, opened it for other teams, and started doing tours.
Known as the House on the Hill, this 164-year-old home went unnoticed in the town of St. Joseph, Missouri. Built in 1854 by Armstrong Beattie, the building originally consisted of just the east wing.
This mansion was built by Armstrong Beattie and was the residence of himself and his wife Eliza just for a few short years. They actually didn't live here very long after it was built. They didn't have any children of their own. However, they did care for 2 of Eliza's sister's kids, and they only cared for them just for a couple of years.
As the first banker in St. Joseph, Armstrong was known to be a shrewd businessman. He was later elected as mayor in 1857 and eventually would be re-elected 4 additional times. In 1878, a sudden bout of cholera took the life of Armstrong Beattie, and his wife Eliza followed suit 2 years later.
He died of cholera, and it was a rather quick death. He lied in state in the front room for 2 days, and all the town came out, for his funeral. And the actual funeral burial site is not too far from here.
He was diagnosed with cholera on a Thursday, died on a Sunday. So we do have some reason to believe that Eliza could be the reason for his very quick illness, as cholera does resemble very much to arsenic poisoning. The reason we think maybe she was the cause of it is because when he created his will, he left anything and everything to everyone but her. With her, he only left her the house.
I don't know. We always just supposed maybe something may have happened foul play-wise, between he and her. Now, there's nothing to really substantiate that, but it was kind of a sudden death, and it took the town back then. There was a lot we've researched it, and I've read some articles about that it was a real shock for the town, because he was a very highly esteemed person in this town.
The Ladies Union Benevolent Association had bought the home and purchased it with the idea of providing shelter for single women and children, mainly for prostitutes and their children.
With funding in 1895, the building was expanded and converted to the Memorial Home for the Aged. For over 100 years, it served its tenants before becoming a group home for the mentally ill and addicts. After being purchased in 2004 by a new owner, the building was slated to become a bed and breakfast. During attempts for remodel, construction crews encountered more than they had planned.
So he had hired construction crews come in, start the work. Well, after the second crew that came through, he couldn't keep them. They would come in for a couple days, things would happen. They would get poked, prodded, tools would end up missing, things would happen within the home. So they'd pack up their stuff and they'd leave and they'd never come back. So Michael had then contacted a caretaker, Rob, to come stay in the home and kind of watch after it because they were having some issues with break-ins. So he would hang out in the house, check on it every now and then. At the time, Rob was living within the home. Well, it was mainly Rob's experiences on why Apex was even contacted in the first place. He was sleeping upstairs one night. In the middle of the night, he woke up to hearing what sounded like a butler in the hallway saying, "I'll be right there, sir." He went rushing out of the room in search of someone that was nowhere to be found. He was then in the kitchen one day and he had knelt down to pick something up when he stood up, full body apparition right there in front of him, freaked him out. But the third situation that he ended up in, that's what was the final straw for him, and that's when he was in the basement. He was walking through and he ended up feeling a very bad burning sensation on his arm. He moved up his sleeve, found raised scratches on his arm, and that's when he said, "I can't do this anymore." He ended up researching a paranormal group and found Apex, contacted them, and then the story just went from there.
Our first time here, within the first 5 minutes, we had a barrage of activity. The building had been closed for some period of time, and we set up, and to make a long story short, we had a disembodied voice, and then I saw a shadow move across a wall, and I'd been sitting in this chair for 5 minutes, and I thought this was just regular light reflection that was on the wall, and it just moved all the way across, quickly. Right after that, we heard a disembodied voice coming almost from the area that I'm standing in right now. This place is a surprising location, full of, just a lot of activity.
You will have your hair played with. If anybody in your group at all has long hair, they will get their hair played with. In the kitchen is usually when it happens. So in here, you will without a doubt catch shadow figures constantly. Usually they're walking to and from, or back and forth, I should say, from the door, both doors of the kitchen. So whenever Armstrong and Eliza had moved in, we only had this section of the house. It wasn't until 1895 when the second portion of the house was built. The reason why that was built was because after the Civil War, Luba started bringing in more elderly rather than children and single parents. So what they did was they started moving the single moms and their children out, bringing in more elderly. And that's when the Hoagland family had actually came in and donated $25,000 to add the second portion into the home to provide more rooms for the elderly.
Lots of different EVPs that we've gotten here. Again, when we were here for the first 5 minutes that day, the disembodied voice was from an older lady, and our first time in, and the lady said, "Won't you take me home?" And you could hear it just echo down the hallway. That was another kind of pretty impressive moment in this place for me.
One of them took place right in this room, and that was when myself and Ryan from Three Girls in the Dark. We were sitting at Nerve Center watching the screens, and we, with our own ears, heard what sounded like a little kid singing Eliza's name. We weren't even sure if it was other team members that we had on the second floor, because you can hear other people around. So we did call in. We were seeing if anybody had heard anything, anybody had sang anything. Nobody could, state whether they did or didn't. So we played it back on the recorder, and it sounded like someone just on the other side of the wall. Clear as day, you hear, Eliza, gave you chills. It's not something that you normally hear, and to be able to say, I heard it with my own ears and caught it on a recorder was absolutely amazing. So this hallway is what we consider Eliza's hallway. Eliza, for some reason, is very protective of this hallway. We don't know why. More on this side she is than on the other side, because the other side was the side that she lived in when she was alive. This side is brand new. It was built way past after her passing away. But she's very protective. She wanders a lot through these halls. And you'll know when she's up here because the intensity it builds the second that she's around. And then you know when she's gone because it's no longer there. I will forewarn you, she's not a fan of men. She despises men. She's known to choke them, leave handprints or thumb marks around their neck. Sometimes she'll even kind of push into your voice box to make you feel like you're choking. With women, she's more known to just make them feel very uncomfortable. If she's okay with you, she'll play with your hair, and that's about as much as she'll do. Room 19, from what we understand, we don't know for a fact, our psychic medium, Allie, had read this home prior to our full investigation. And from what she understood, there was a young lady who had actually hung herself from the piping in this room. And she said that she's just kind of trapped there. We haven't had anything to confirm or deny if that is the case. We have had other teams that have caught EVPs saying that there was a female that had hung herself, but research hasn't found anything on whether it's the truth or not. So we do know that for quite a few years, this is where the servants had resided. So down here is the only place where you still have the original doors still hung up. Upstairs, you'll have your normal doors that are put up in any home. But this one, these original doors were kept in place, not sure why. So that could be an added factor to kicking up some energy through here. I will say that there is a lot of negative energy down here. From what we understand, there's a lot of abuse that had happened to a lot of children down here. I'm still in the process of researching a lot of that information with how large this home is and how many people had resided here. It's a lot to go through, but you will catch a lot of children laughing and running through here. We know for a fact that there is an older woman and a little boy that are constantly together through here.
I just think this place is interesting in all the lives it's lived, all of the things this building has been. So there's been a lot of people in and out of here. There's probably been people die of natural causes here, in the building, in different eras. So I think that's an interesting part of this building's history. All the incarnations of what it has been.
This season of Haunting History, we want to bring you some new things, some new ideas, experiments, and new technology. One of the things that we wanted to do for this place in particular was we have a friend who is a remote viewer, psychic medium, but tonight she is going to be doing some remote viewing from Springfield, Missouri. Her name is Angel, and she's worked with us before on some other projects, and she's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
We're kind of curious to see what she comes up with. So I'm about to give her a call, and we're going to listen in. I've sent her pictures of the place. She has no idea where we're at. We're going to give her a call. We're going to hear what she has to say just based off of the pictures. Throughout the night as we're investigating, she's going to be doing some remote viewing and trying to get the spirits to interact with us. So let's give her a call. During our phone conversation with Angel, some of the things that she described didn't make sense to us at first.
I keep hearing the Randy. I'm sorry. Yes, Randy. And Ray. I still keep hearing Ray. Okay, something else. Did somebody there die from tuberculosis?
I do not know.
I keep getting like really bad lung pain when I'm on the left side of like when you send me the picture, you go up the stairs, but the one on the left side with the reddish colored door, I feel a lot of pain in my lungs when I'm over on that side. I don't know what that means.
It wasn't until after we hung up the phone that it became clear of what and who Angel was picking up. Okay, so you folks at home don't know. We have a couple guests with us we were going to introduce later, but they've been hanging out right now. This is Randy, and this is Mickey. Go ahead and step forward and tell us what you just said.
Well, she mentioned on the phone that she was picking up someone named Randy or someone named Ray, and my name is Randall Ray. Randy Ray. That's me.
And I've been having problems, upper respiratory problems, and I'm having problems where she would have pictured that on the left side of my lungs.
So the left side of you
Right.
is where you're having
Right.
issues.
Correct.
And she doesn't even know you guys.
No.
No.
Like, you guys have never even met her. You've never seen her before.
No.
No.
That's real. And she has no idea you guys are here.
She's good.
Right. Yeah, that was good.
I am recording. Are you recording on the audio?
Oh, not yet.
Okay. Just hit the record button.
Okay, we're live.
This is David. Say your name.
Okay, this is Randy.
And Mickey?
This is the Beattie Mansion. It is about 8 o'clock, and right now we're on the first floor.
We're going to head towards the kitchen.
Okay.
Hey, did you just say something, Mickey?
Yeah, she said we're heading towards the kitchen.
After that.
No.
Did you guys hear that?
Yes. I thought that was you.
No, I thought that was you. Within the first minute of our nighttime investigation, we already heard an audible voice.
We're going to head towards the kitchen.
Okay.
We're going to head towards the kitchen.
Okay.
Hang on, let's do this. Let's walk back through here real quick. Make sure it's not the floor. Okay. Alright, let's go back that way. Okay. Let me see the recorder real quick. Because that was really quick and early.
Mm-hmm.
We're at 50, not even a minute. Stop.
Set up for a party now. Is there anybody here? Bar set up. Lights. Is there anybody here that used to dance in here or have dinner parties? It's a beautiful room for it. Tell us about it.
John coughing.
Is that yours, Josh, that motion sensor?
His name is David.
Or, I'm sorry, David, is that your motion sensor?
No. At this moment, a whispering voice bleeds through the camera's audio just before John radios the group.
Or, I'm sorry, David, is that your motion sensor?
No.
Or, I'm sorry, David, is that your motion sensor?
No.
If you're in here, can you play a note on the piano for us? I'll dance if you play. I just feel like we should go back towards the kitchen.
Okay.
Can you tell me your name if there's a spirit down in this basement?
I heard something over here on my right a little bit ago.
A little tap or knock or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, we're in the dark now where you guys like to play. If you can bang on a door, close the door, or just say something, we would appreciate it. We're not here to harm you in any way. We are here to validate that there are spirits in this building. If you can you tell us your name? About Mr. the owner of the house? The one the house is named after, the Beattie Mansion? Are you in the building with us today?
I just saw that.
They say you were the mayor of St. Joseph, Missouri for 5 terms. Boy, that's really something. And they said you were also a banker, a real shrewd businessman.
You don't have a cell phone on you, do you, Randy?
Yeah, I do.
That's probably it then. Cell phones will set those off. K2s are really unreliable about that. They'll pick up radio signals, plus my walkie. They'll pick up walkie signals and... So we're coming up here to room 19 where we're going to run an experiment. I've got Randy and John in the room. Room 19 is where it is rumored or thought that a woman had hung herself from the pipes in the room. We're going to do this experiment. It's an audio experiment. We're going to let Randy tell you guys about the program that we're running, and we'll go from there.
This is a software-defined radio receiver, commonly called SDR. It has presently connected a VHF UHF antenna, and this long white wire is a HF antenna, which can pick all the way down through shortwave band. The software we're using on this, basically each one of these different colors is a different channel. We can listen to 4 channels at the same time within a relative space. We can manually scan through up and down, and a spike will appear if there's a radio frequency present. Up above, if there's a radio frequency, it will show color to indicate how strong that signal is. What the experiment is if something that is received on EVP, will there be an RF energy that's detected by the radio? The limitations we have is the electromagnetic spectrum is a very large playing field. So we're not exactly sure where to look at a given time. So at this point, we're just going to scan and hope we get lucky. Okay, basically this is an example of a known frequency or a known signal. In particular, this is the National Weather Service radio in St. Joe. You can see on the what's called the waterfall, that yellow shows that it's a strong signal coming in. It's kind of modulating with the voice. This is an FM signal, by the way. This down here shows the strength of the signal. As you can see, it's a fairly strong signal. If you look just to the right of it, these other little spikes that are sticking up, those are other National Weather Service stations, possibly Kansas City or Omaha, because they're scattered all over the U.S. But that's a typical representation of a signal.
So basically, with this software that he is running, this program, scanning the frequencies, what we're going to do, John and I, we're going to do an EVP session in this room where the woman is said to have hung herself from the pipes. And while we're doing this EVP session, Randy's going to look for and monitor the frequencies for any blips. And he's going to call out the blips that could be anomalous. And we're going to tag the recorder, and we're going to review the recorder to see if we captured an EVP at that point. The hope is that if we capture an EVP at that point, we might be able to narrow down or have an idea of a frequency range of maybe a vocal representation of a voice.
Generally speaking, yellow to red indicates the strength. The width is how much bandwidth the signal is using. So this is narrowband FM. If this were broadcast FM, it would be taking up probably about, the distance between my two fingers for the whole signal, because it's actually stereo. This is typical of a communications signal. We were a little bit ago looking at a digital signal in the public safety band. Looks very similar to this, except it's digital. We can't understand it with our ears. It's just squeaks and grunts and ticks, that type of thing.
And what are the different colors?
Of these bands here, those are my different channels. So like this green here would represent channel 3. And if I move this on top of the signal, you can actually hear the signal. You can hear it talking. So he's reporting that at 9 p.m. in St. Joseph, fog was reported. I can switch the modulation, be it FM, AM, upper, lower side bands, etc. The newer software, I'm told, is that they're actually putting in codecs so you can translate any of the digital modes. Probably not the public safety modes, because they're kind of secure on those, but the more publicly used digital modes.
EVP session, the frequency session is what we'll call it. This is David. John.
Randy.
And we are in room 19 of the Beattie Mansion. It is almost 9:45. If there is anybody who can hear my voice, if there's a lady that was from room 19, we want to talk to you. We want to find out what happened. We don't want to hurt you. We're not here to scare you. Could you please come and talk to us? Tell us your name.
Can you tell us why you hung yourself?
Was that Mickey? That could have been Mickey. That was pretty loud. Hey Mickey, did you just cough?
No, I haven't made any sound, and I'm watching a really weird light in the living room.
That wasn't her. If that was you that we heard, we're in room 19. Could you please come in here? Sound like footsteps there. We're in room 19. Could you come towards my voice, please? You hear the footsteps? We were later able to debunk the light on the first floor. As for the cough and footsteps being heard, we were unable to verify the source as Mickey was on the other side of the building and validated that it was not her. Can you tell me your name? Or yell it really loudly?
Now, that's interesting.
A blip?
Well, it's that same thing that I'm listening to that's where it sounds like it's, dead signal. And watching this part of the signal, when you asked that question, it spiked. Keep talking or keep watching.
Were you here during the days that the women and children were here? Is that you?
That was me.
Okay. The rest of the night fell silent. As far as experiences go, we were able to audibly hear a voice and cough. This coincides with reports of hearing audible voices. Although our experiment didn't produce the desired results, we know that it is in its infancy, and further experimentation and adjustments will need to be made. We enjoyed our time with Mickey and Randy and look forward to a return to the Beattie Mansion to find out who is haunting history.